All right, so I want to show you guys how to make an interactive Google Slides, and this slide is also more personalized because I've given voice feedback. So I'm going to show you kind of the design. It is, once you get a basic understanding of how to format these, it becomes a lot easier, but just kind of, you gotta, it takes some time. So with this slides presentation, here's my ultimate goal. I want this to be interactive. It's going to be given to them into present mode. This is going to be kind of, I almost see it as it's like a video, an alternative to a video, because they are practicing identifying sources, and then they're getting feedback once they do identify it. So it's just a different way of kind of thinking about how to get them the information when you're not actually in front of them. So with this assignment, they are going to be also filling out this Google Doc. So the slideshow is just kind of the vehicle, like the resource they're using, but this will be the thing that they're editing. So they are going to decide whether it's primary or secondary, and then they have to justify why it is primary or secondary. So ultimately, this is them looking at the source, evaluating it, and then they're going to decide if they think it's primary or secondary. Based on whatever their guess is, it's going to take them to a slide. So based on whichever one they choose, I wanted to tell them if they were right or wrong. And then there's going to be a spot that will also give them personal feedback from me based on what their answer is, as if I was like doing this with them or sitting there next to them and saying, hey, what is this source? So kind of have to be mindful of it. First, you want to think of what your design is going to be. I am kind of weird about design. If you ask anybody that knows me, I do like for my things to look nice, but there are quick ways to do it. You get better at it the more you practice. But a couple of tricks that I've learned, if you want to insert like a picture background like this because you're sick of using the same like 6 themes that Google gives you, if you can add just backgrounds to individual slides right here. But a way to like create templates that you can consistently use, or even if you're doing a slides presentation where you have elements that you do want the kids to manipulate, but you don't like want maybe the graphic organizer to move. If you create the background under view and master, you can put, you have all these same actions. So I can go back, I can go here to background, and let's say I want all my, slides to have the color, this color behind it. That's going to change it for every slide in my current presentation that I'm going to work on. So this is kind of a workaround to create your own templates and designs in your Google Slides. So I actually created this one before I learned that trick. So I add a lot of shapes to my slides as well, and text boxes. So like with this one, it's just, a normal shape. I like to give them borders. You can weight your borders. I usually go for a pretty big one there. These transparent type of backgrounds for my shapes, you can easily do that. Like it defaults to solid shapes or solid colors. But if you go to custom, you can pick whatever color you want, and you can adjust the transparency to whatever you want. So it's just another way of, rather than just having all these bulky colors on top of your slides. And it's just a way to give it kind of a new look. If you see my Roanoke presentation, that's pretty much what I used. I do create my buttons using Canva. Canva is free, and they have a free for educators. I just haven't gotten that part because I'm still in my free trial. But they have a lot of like free ones, even if you don't have their premium version. But that's how I get to my buttons. All right, so I've got my slides set up how I want here, and I'm going to need to link. There are only 2 things that I want these kids to be able to click. I want them to click the primary or secondary because those are the 2 guesses. And based on what they click, I want them to take it to the slide that's going to give them the appropriate feedback. So to do that, I actually inserted a shape because I wanted it to be a little larger than the actual button was in case they didn't click correctly. So I just inserted a transparent oval. And then in order to link it to something in the presentation, you can right click and link, or you could insert link, but the shortcut is Control K. It's going to give you this. Mine's already filled out, but you can link it to, I mean, anything, but if you want to link it to something in this presentation, do slides in the presentation. I look over, primary is the correct one. So I want it to go to that green slide. So I'm going to link it to slide 5. And then I'll just do the same for the secondary, but to the other side. All right, so that is giving me my links. Those are the only things that I'm going to need to link as of right now. Then I just always made my next slide after the like main source slide, the incorrect one. And all I did was duplicate the previous slide. And then I used a shape. I added that rectangle and I covered my background. And then I filled that shape with the color and made it just red, and I just made it transparent, very transparent. So you can still see the original background, but to the kids, they'll know that when they get to this slide, oh, I was wrong. I also added a Bitmoji Classroom. That's not necessary, but it was just something I was messing with. Okay, so on the wrong slide, I didn't have to do any formatting on this one, remember, because I just duplicated. If you don't know how to duplicate, it's just right click, and then you can duplicate slide. So I have this button here, and I know that if they guessed it wrong, they need to know why. And if I just type it out, they're just going to copy my response and paste it into their worksheet. And you know that's not what you want them to do. You want them to actually think about it. And this is still a learning process, so it's okay that I'm giving them the answer. That's what we would do if they were in front of us too. So in order to give them the feedback that I want to give them, I did make a TikTok for this, but I went to Vocaroo.com. When I go to this site, I use this one because it's the easiest one that just like downloads directly to your computer. So you record whatever you're recording, and then it's going to give you the option to save and share. And then you're going to download it. It doesn't have it to where you can download it directly to your drive, but if you download it to your computer and you put it all like in a folder, then you can go to your Google Drive and you can upload a folder. So to do this, you just go to New, and then you can upload individual files, but because I've got a lot of sounds, I put it all in just one folder so I could upload that whole folder together. And I guess I kind of forgot to say why you have to bring it to your drive and not just from your computer. When you add an audio file in Google Slides, it won't let you add from your computer right now. So you have to have it onto your drive, which is probably a good idea to have all that stuff on your drive anyways. So then I just go back to my slides presentation, and this is where I want that audio to go. So I'm going to go to Insert, Audio, and it's going to bring up any audio file that you have created in your drive or that you have in your drive. So when I uploaded them, I did say like what the source was and if it was for the wrong response or the correct response, because I still wanted to give them feedback on the correct response because they still have to fill out why. And if they just happen to guess right, I wanted them to know. And I did do a separate feedback to kind of go with what they chose. So when they were right, I told them they were right. If they were wrong, I told them they were wrong. It makes them feel good even if they just guessed, I guess. So when I go to insert audio, let's just say this was the one that I'm going to do because it doesn't matter. I'm going to delete it anyways. So it's going to come up automatically as this. Few settings that you need it to be set to. First, I am going to make the button as large as the button I have that I want them to click. And just try to get it kind of right over it. You've got your format options for your sound. Don't do it automatically. If you just want to play music in a slideshow, automatically is good, but on click is what we're looking for because we want them to click it to get the feedback. I don't want to loop it. I'm going to have it stop on the slide change so that they don't have to hear it. But this is the other important thing. You've already sized it, but you do need to go to adjustments. I want this to be the thing that they click, and whether it's transparent or not, if they click it, it will play. So I take the transparency, and now it doesn't look like it's there anymore, but it's on top of that button. So when they click onto it, it's going to still play. It's all there. I'm going to delete it just because I don't want it to mess with the real one. Another thing that you need to be mindful of is, so once they've gotten their feedback and they've done their worksheet, they need to be able to make it to the next source. We're going to format this to where it won't automatically advance, because if it does that, you'll see it's just a big mess. So I created an arrow that will take them to the next source. So I will have to add a link on this to whatever that next source is. And you can see in the side here that it is source 6. So I have linked that arrow that I created into source 6. Okay, that is going to be important. So then I do the same here. I did add my Bitmoji again. That's just more for me. That you don't have to be all extra like I do sometimes. So I do the same. I just duplicate the slide again for the correct slide. So I've got all these same functions. This link will stay the same because you just wanted to go to slide 6 as well, because once they finish this one, they're just moving to the next link. Did the same thing for the sound there, except this one was the personalized if they had the correct sound. And so I'll show you when we get into the presentation. It works out really, really nicely. Okay, so that's your basic setup, the kind of like formatting it all out. If you want to be mindful of the links, I usually put the links in last after I have everything through. But now here's the probably most important part when it comes to making this interactive. So when the kid actually gets this and it's in present mode, when it's in present mode, I mean, they do have this navigation bar. I usually tell them just to exit out of it, but slides is set to automatically advance. No matter where you press in the slide, it's going to take you to the next slide. That's just the format. So I haven't done the right formatting yet. And let's say the kid gets on here and they accidentally click transcript. It's automatically taking them to the next slide, which I know is the incorrect slide. They like freak out, like, why did it go? I didn't even press anything. Why did it go wrong? And it's just because you forgot to do a super important step. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So in order to stop it from auto advancing, you are going to insert a shape. You can do it from either way. Then draw it over your entire slide. You want to make sure that the whole slide's covered. This is what it defaults to. It's just going to be gray. You're going to change that by doing the fill color and just transparent. I like to have at least some of the sides kind of over, like lapping the slide so that I can see the outline. So when I click out of it, it just looks like this. You can also make the border transparent too, but like I said, I like to be able to see it just for my own, like, so I know where it's at. Okay, now the problem is when you add this last, it is the layer on top. So you have to think of slides are like layers, and anything that's on top is what you're going to click into. And so when I have this shape here, anywhere that I click, it's just gonna like leave me there. I have nowhere to go. There's no link. It's not gonna auto advance. Well, you have to add the link for it not to auto advance. But the point is the shape can't be completely on top. You're going to want anything that you have linked to be in the front. You can do this different ways. I'm going to show you the most basic way is I just take this over to where I can see these are the only two things that I need them to be able to click on. And you are going to right click, order, and you're going to bring it to the front. And then you're going to do the same with anything else that you have linked. And you can see that there's shortcuts to it, but I'm going to do it the good old-fashioned way for you guys. And so you'll bring that to the front. Now you can see that that line no longer goes in front of them. It's behind. So that means they'll be able to click on that shape and it's going to take them to the slide that they want. So adding this shape is great and all, but it's really just another element to the slide until you link it to the current slide that it's on. So again, to link, I'm pressing on. I can see my shape is being highlighted. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to insert a link. I'm going to do slides in this presentation, and I am going to link it to the current number slide that I'm on. I'm going to link it to slide number 3, and then I'll apply it. That way, when they get into present mode, like before, it just automatically took them to the next one. Now, if they press anywhere but these two shapes, it is just going to keep them on this slide. There's no way for them to get out of it until they click either primary or secondary. Or I guess they could use the bar down there, but we're going to act like that doesn't exist. So this slide is ready to go now. If you have it in presentation mode, it is going to take them to the correct place. You're going to need to do the same thing for every slide, but the great thing is Google's always getting better. So if you just create this for the first shape that you need it, and so it's linked to slide 3 already. If you copy this and just click on slide 4, you don't even need to get into it. Then you hit paste. You'll see that it just inserted, and then you can see it automatically realized what you were trying to do. This link, you want this to be linked to the current slide. So even though I am pasting it into these different slides, and I'm not even actually in the slide, I can do it right from here. I can keep pasting it, and just so you believe that it's true, this one's slide 5, it's linking to slide 5, so it's automatically changing for you. And now the only thing you'll have to go back and do is make sure that everything that you want them to be able to click. So I got my shape again. I can see, since I can see that line in front of it, I know that, they're not going to be able to click it. They're just going to be clicking on a blank shape. So I take it, Control K, and I'm going to link, or I don't even need to link it. I already linked it. Whoop. But I'm going to order it. Sorry. So order, bring it to the front. And I'm going to do the same. This is make sure that because they won't be able to get to the next source if you don't hit, or if you don't bring this to the front as well, this link to the front as well. All right. Once you're finished, you'll just take it on back. And voila, you now have these interactive slides. And then I would suggest going through it yourself just to make sure that you have all the links correct. Somehow, the first time I did it, I didn't have to go back and make any edits. But the good thing is because when you publish something, even if you posted it as an assignment, if it's published to the web, all the updates are going to happen everywhere that it is on the web. So if you realize you messed up a link, but you already posted it to all your classes, you can still go back and edit your original published one that you've linked to your slides, and it's going to automatically update, which is why you should always publish your slides. So at the end of all this, these students are going to be able to see this. So now when the kids open it, you've shared it as a published slideshow. Now, I didn't edit any of these because I want them to be able to go through. They can see their directions. And then here's their first spot. Now notice I'm clicking around, nothing happening. That's how I know I did it right. So they're going to read through. Let's say they say it's secondary. Bam. That's incorrect, but that's okay because they can still figure out why. So they just click on my button. So this is actually going to be a primary source, not a secondary. These are John F. Kennedy's work. So I've given them that personalized feedback. Now they can go into their worksheet, look under source 1. They know the answer. They guessed secondary. That's wrong. It is a primary source, so they know to put a P. And then now they have to listen to what I said in order to write why it is a primary source. And that is at least making them hear it and then write it down again. If I just would have, given like the correct response in written form, you know what they're going to do. They're going to copy and paste it and put your words right back into your worksheet and then change a couple of them. So this is supposed to be like a get around to that. It's also supposed to help them feel like this is what I told them. This is what I would tell you in class. If we were going over this and you gave me an incorrect answer, this is probably similar to what I would say. So just giving them kind of that teacher interaction that they would have if they were with us, but, in just like a different way. So hopefully that helps when it comes to how to format. I try to give you guys some tricks. I feel like there's just so much. But once you get the gist of certain things and realize things that you can do, then you kind of just start figuring it out yourself too. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always available. I will answer comments if you put them here on YouTube or anywhere else. So good luck.